Hi guys, I'm here again with another weekly meeting update or highlight video, and to start the good news and bad news. Good news is I did lose only 0.2, but after having a long weekend and a party I went to, I'm not going to complain. And I didn't walk my 10,000 steps each day. I hit between 5 and 7, and that's not enough. So I know what I need to do. Anyway, so that was the somewhat good news. The bad news, Dorothy's leaving. She's gonna retire. And I don't blame her. She told us why. She's been with the company 27 years. She's been doing meetings for 25 years. And her husband, I did not know, had myasthenia gravis. And she wants to spend some good time with them, and this job takes away from that and her family. And she has children and grandchildren she wants to spend time with too. And she was crying when she was telling us that next week will be her last week, which made everybody sad. It was like, I so appreciate and understand why, but I really like her, and I think that she's helps me with my mojo or whatever. But Eileen, who is the one that always substitutes for her, will be the leader, and she's good. I would say that when I would tell you about what she had to say. It's just she's not going to be Dorothy. Nobody's going to be Dorothy, and I'm going to have to live with that. Things change, and you have to learn to accept them. I don't do well with change like that, and I'm pretty bummed. But I'm not going to give up, and I'm not going to have it stop me. But I love my Dorothy. So anyway. That's that for that. You can see me even being sad about it now, you know what I mean? But anyway, here's the weekly. And go beyond the scale. Focusing on your healthy actions can keep you headed for long-term success. You're more than a number. And that's kind of what the go beyond the scale, the first part of it here. And what does it mean to go beyond the scale? It means that you're more than just that number, and there are many ways to be successful at healthy living and weight loss. So you can't just all tie in your successes to the weight loss or gain on the scale. And gained 1.6 this week. Stayed completely on plan, but feel good. I'm not going to let the scale distract me. Yeah, that's kind of the idea of it. And the think again section in the middle. Number I need to lose, instead of saying I need to lose 25 pounds to feel good, I should say I want to get to and maintain a healthy weight for as long as I can. And instead of saying I need to lose 5 pounds a week, I'll eat healthily and take care of myself, and the weight will come off as it's meant to. The number, this will work if I cut out sugar, fat, and bread, and I'll eat a variety of nutritious foods and make room for my favorites. And the last one, if I slip up, I might as well quit. Slip-ups happen. It's a matter of when, not if. I'll stick with it even when it's tough, and I won't beat myself up for slipping up, which is really the major part here. I no longer think I can't eat that, but rather I choose not to eat that. No more I need to work out, but rather I get to work out. Making myself a priority and planning and prepping for success has gotten me so far. I used to place my self-worth on a number. Beyond the scale has helped me shift my focus to eating and living healthy, not on whether or not I lost weight this week. So that's a good thing. That's the book. On to my notes. I always put it in my little planner. This is, let's see. Today's was about truths and myths. And we had some listed on the board, and we talked about them. Kind of goes hand in somewhat with that. But lots of people would think that I need to cut out all snacking. And obviously we know that. That's not the case. You don't want to be hungry, number one, so you should have meals, something to eat every 2 or 3 hours throughout the course of the day. And since you really should be eating 3 healthy, balanced meals, you're going to need to add in a couple of snacks in there in order to not have such a long time in between each thing. And then, of course, if you deprive yourself, it just, deprivation sets in, and then you just scarf. So don't do that. Or don't feel like poor me, woe is me, because you're not going to last long either. And then just own what you're choosing and write it down and track it and move on. I mean, you are going to have some unhealthy snacks. That's just life. Try to plan for them. Try to keep them in your point value. You have your weeklies to use, and just own it. It's always like the whole thing about this plan is just own it and move on. I mean, don't pretend you didn't have that little extra this or write it down. And then another myth would be avoid fats to get slim. Your body needs lubrication with healthy oils for your hair, your skin, your joints, and you need like 2 tablespoons of good oil a day, and that just helps you with your elimination system too. I mean, everything, those oils are built in, like even to the food pyramid, like from the government tells you that healthy oils are important. So you don't want to just say no, I'm not going to have any, because you really should be adding a slight bit of those into each day, so just to help your body function correctly. Safe points for later in the day. I do that, but not every day. And that's, I guess, her point. When she talked about, a lot of people said, kind of owned up to the fact that they're going to go to a party, that's what they do. And she says, make sure that you're still eating something, and very low in points if that's what you're doing, but don't do that on a daily basis. You're never going to maintain for a length of time. But like when I do go to a party, whatever, I'll have a piece of fruit or something for lunch. So my body's still eating something, and it's being able to keep the metabolism going. But then I can save my points and enjoy and not feel deprived in all those other things. So, but if you do try to save your points, like some people don't eat breakfast, they want to save them for later, then you're just going to overeat, and your metabolism needs to get kick-started, and that only gets kick-started if you're actually having your body do something by, trying to process something you've eaten. Not so much drinking, because your body really doesn't know, it doesn't trigger the same things as actual food. So breakfast is important. People say, oh, they don't want to feel like whatever, I'll eat all day, whatever. Your body needs to get kicked started. That's why you need to have a breakfast. And then you should eat every couple of hours so your body keeps metabolizing things and keeps that metabolism going. Another myth is red meat is bad. And it's actually, that's just a poor thing. It used to be if it doesn't if it doesn't fly or swim, you shouldn't eat it. People used to say that, like you should have chicken and poultry and fish, But she said actually red meat is a good source of iron, which your body needs. So that's important. If you're going to be eating red meat, you should look at the types of meat as being either the leg, loin, or round. Have those be in the wording of whatever you're buying, because that's the better cuts. And if it's undercooked a little bit, it's better. I don't know why. And of course then we want to do some seasonings with spices and herbs, and using seasonings because you're not going to have as much fat in those. So you want to have flavor, because you don't want to just eat it and then think, well, that looked, So try to add in those other things in order to make it so that it is an enjoyable food. I always get ground sirloin, and loin being part of that word. So, because I just don't like to see all that fat when I'm cooking. When I see a hamburger or whatever, there's a lot of fat in it, it just turns my stomach. But anyway, another myth would be it's all about willpower. And she's obviously willpower helps. Nobody's going to lie about that. If you have willpower, that does help you. But what you really, truly need is skill power. You need to learn all the skills that's going to keep you on track. And those are going to carry you for a lifetime. Because when you start educating yourself, and what you should be doing and how you should be eating and how you should be preparing and how you should balance and all those things, that's the skill power that you need in order to carry you for the length of your journey, which is your whole life. Another myth is supplements save on points. No, because your body doesn't process them the same as a natural. So those are supplements, not substitutes. So you have to think of those two words. So you still need to have all the natural sources of whatever it is. Like if you're thinking, I'm going to take a calcium pill because I'm not going to drink milk. Well, no, you still need the calcium from dairy, natural dairy. And other, even if you're doing vitamins or whatnot, those, not saying that you shouldn't take them. Because if you feel like you're a little bit lacking and you want to be, think you're being healthier, just don't think of them as substitutes, because they're not substitutes. They're supplements to what is you're eating naturally. Another myth was aging makes you gain. It doesn't control our ability to change, though. So if you have a mindset that, well, I'm getting older, I'm just going to gain. The average is a pound to 1 pound per week that with age that you would gain should nothing else be different. Well, should nothing else be different is the key word, because you're going to, there's people who have been on Weight Watchers who are lifetime members, and they have gained a year every year, and yet they have still stayed within the range of their healthy weight. So it is proven that it can be done. And if you try to combat, just don't give in to the thought, well, I'm getting older, so I'm going to get fatter. No. Knowing that should make you even all the more try to eat healthier and try to maintain or lose if you need to lose. It's very possible. Don't just give up on the thought, because you think everything's stacked against you. The following the program guarantees weekly weight loss, and that's not so. People, you could follow that plan exactly, and you might hit a plateau, and that'll be discouraging, and you want to just give up. There was a lady there who took 7 months. All she needed to lose was 12 pounds, and she's finally done it. It took her 7 months to lose 12 pounds. And, of course, when you're closer to your goal rate, it is harder. It's not as easy. But she was like, she talked a little bit. And I'm like, I knew I had to do it, and I knew and I wasn't going to give up. And, it took me this long, but I feel like I can maintain it. Now she's, a lifetime member, so she'll get to go free and whatnot. Just because this is what I needed to do. And I thought, if I don't do it, I'll just keep gaining. And that's the mindset you need to have. Go start when you only need 12 pounds to lose. That would have been smarter for me. And what you do when you plateau, she said. Oh, and also that your body fluctuates, hormones, you might have a little more salt, water retention. There's lots of things that when you're on plan, you could still not lose. And so don't be discouraged by that, because you could probably look back at your week and know maybe if it's your cycle, if you're a woman, or you've had a lot more saltier things, and those things do add up, not in as much water consumption, that kind of thing. So you can be on plan and still not lose, and not to give up. But if you do plateau, she said, to look at it with fresh eyes, like you did at the beginning of the program. Everybody's all gun-ho, and they follow every rule, and they really make changes, and they lose weight. And then you get comfortable, and then you're still following the plan, but not as accurately as you did in the beginning. You were gun-ho, and now you're kind of slacking off. So she says, look at it with fresh eyes, like you're a new member. Bring out your book that you got when you first started, or even whatever diet you're on. Bring out all your materials that you first, studied up on and figured out, set your course for your plan. Look at all of that again with some fresh eyes, and then you'll be able to get off that plateau and start losing again. And then the last myth was, my weight problem is all my parents' fault. Genetics. Well, that does have a predisposition for you to be. Maybe you have wider hips. Maybe you have something like that. Your height. All those things do come into play. But you can't just give into that and say it's inevitably going to happen, and so therefore, what's the point? No, you can combat that. And no, you can't change how tall you are. You can't change that you have wide hips and all those different things that are truly not changeable. But you can change everything else. Not everything else. You can change many things about yourself that would help that. You know what I mean? If you had wide hips, you could be an hourglass figure. Think about it that way. You can lose weight in different areas of your body if you do the right exercises and obviously eating the correct food. So you just can't say, well, that's who I am and that's what it's going to be. Don't give in to it. Don't think it's inevitably. That's just the only thing that can happen, because you can control your destiny. That was kind of basically it. Well, we had some food finds, as always. One of them was was a little drink. It was in a little carton like this big, and it was Premier Protein, and she had a chocolate flavor. It was 30 grams of protein in there, and it was for 2 smart points, and she got that at Costco, and it's available at Meijer's also. And they have different flavors, not just chocolate. And she brings that in the morning. And like Dorothy reminded her, you don't want to just drink in the morning. You should have that and a piece of fruit. Get your body moving, the metabolism moving. It's good to get all that protein in, and 2 points is good. And if it's, quenching your thirst or, your thought for chocolate or whatever, that's a good thing. But don't just rely on those drinks. That's what her point was when we talked about that. They had a box of like the original fudge pops, but this was the no sugar added. And it was 1 point for 1 or 3 points for 2. So we talked a little bit about Weight Watcher math when it does that, you know what I mean? And how do you know how it counts? When you're putting it in and you have one for lunch and you put it in the lunchtime, you're scheduling it, 1 point. And then if you're going to have it again, you should have second one because boy, that really hit the spot and you just can't get it out of your head, and you have one for a snack at night, it's still just 1 point. It's not 3 points because you didn't have it at the same time. Your body wasn't metabolizing that at the same time. So you do, when you're putting it in, if you have the app and you're putting it at different times, the app will figure it and it'll count 1 and it'll count 1. It will not. But if you're putting it in the app at lunch and you had 2 at one time, you would put, 2, quantity 2, and it would then give you 3 points. So just talking about that Weight Watcher math, you're only cheating yourself, she said, if you try to add it here and then add it there when that really truly wasn't what happened. You're just fooling your own self. It's, who are you kidding? It's still going to be that you had 3 points, So another one was a Joseph's Heart Friendly Pita Bread, which I like a pita bread, and it was only 1 point. And it looked like not too small. It wasn't too small. It was pretty thin, she said, but you have to make sure you find the right one and check the label because they do have different ones, I guess, from Joseph's. So don't just think all of them are 1 point, but the one that she had was. And then another herb that Dorothy talked about was a Thai basil, and it tastes just like black licorice. If you happen to like the taste of black licorice, you can throw that in something and get that taste, so that's helpful. And then let's see, I think that was about it. The total for loss was 60.6 pounds. So that's pretty cool for a holiday weekend. And there was a gentleman there that came. He was just in the area. So he wanted to hit a meeting because he was here on vacation. I guess visiting somebody. And that just shows you that, number one, you should be doing that. If you can find a meeting anywhere you go, and don't say, oh, I'm just because I'm there, I'm not going to weigh in. His weigh-in day was Wednesday, and he found a Wednesday meeting. And the man has lost 160.6 pounds. So that's how he's lost that. He knew he was on vacation, and he knew he had to find a meeting. And it was very nice, pleasant. He did, everybody stood up and gave him a round of ovation. Applause, and he seemed a little embarrassed by that, but we're just, obviously that's pretty cool. I mean, that's like a whole person. And but the mere fact that he found that on vacation and just thought, I'm going to stop in and get my meeting in, is what we need to think about. No matter where we go, at least in the United States, you can find a Weight Watcher meeting, I guess is the point. So don't let that be your excuse for not going to one. I don't know when I'm going on mine, if there is one in the area. I'm going to take a look, though. Well, I might have to go on a different day because Wednesday will be a travel day when I'm on my vacation. But anyway, so I hope this has been helpful. And I hope that it's helped you. And if you think it can help anybody else, please share this video. Give it a thumbs up for a like. That'd be great. If you have any comments or questions, as always, put them down below, and I'll either answer them if I know the answer or find out the answer and answer it next week. And what else? Oh, subscribe if you're new. I'm glad that you came. Thanks, guys. Well, trying to find the button to turn it off.